Money, a tool that people use to change their own destiny for good, right? But the fact is that it's not in your total control anymore. There are some government strings that are making it flow or stopping it from flowing. To add to this control, our government has some new plans. The things are gonna get worse, guys. There's something that's coming for us very quickly, and I believe that this could be the biggest exaltant that we see on how we use our very own money. This is something that will give power to your authorities over your very own money, and by far, this has never happened till date in the records. Until the introduction of the factor about which I'm going to talk today, CBDC. This stands for Central Bank Digital Currency. Very quickly, let me take you through the large-scale protests that might be occurring in Canada. I'm not going to enter the information about the protests, but I'm going to tell you approximately how the authorities have used the economic regulations in a dictatorial way to prevent and manage these protests. Thousands of people participated in the protest. The automobiles clogged up the Canada's prominent city, the national capital of Ottawa. The people residing in those towns wanted to complain about how their lives and the companies were disrupted by using noise and blockages around the cities, and they wanted the authorities to interfere. Well, to take control of the situation, the Canadian authorities obviously began with threats and afterward arrest of the protesters in hopes to dampen the situation. But all this to avail nothing. The protesters did not stop and the protest went on. So, what did the Canadian authorities do to take control? Any guesses? Well, the Canadian authorities pulled out a massive weapon and took away the humans' cap potential to live on. The government started to take even more drastic measures. After enacting the emergency laws, they started freezing the bank accounts of the protesters. Although many of the donations were coming from the abroad, but more than 50% of those donations were from other Canadians, clearly showing how much support the protesters were getting from within their own country. You guys can argue that the government had each and every right to punish these protesters as they were disrupting the lives of other people, right? But on the other hand, the government was disrupting the lives of these protesters. This started to work because one of the easiest ways to stop a human in their tracks is to take away their ability to survive. In Canada, the protests are still going on, but due to the government's financial restrictions, fewer people are able to attend those protests. Now, it is not my job to speak for anyone, but I strongly believe that it is everyone's right to hear both sides of the story. Herein lies the crux of a major issue. But before we get into that, let me introduce you to our today's sponsor, the book Love, Empathy and Project Management. This book will take you into the world of project management in a unique way through storytelling, real life scenarios, and even visual representations. You should definitely check it out. The link is in the description. Now, getting back to our topic. The common people are not the one who have the ability or the power to restrict the government's money immediately, right? This is where it creates an imbalance of power between the government and the citizens. These things give the government an advantage over the citizens whenever there is a dispute among them. This is where the focus of our video comes in, which is CBDC and why I believe it will lead to an even greater imbalance of power. Rishi Sunak. He currently holds a very fancy government position in the UK, but for the general public, he is the senior finance minister of the nation. He recently revealed his idea for the G7 to adopt something they refer to as the Central Bank Digital Currencies, CBDCs. These are just digital currencies just like any other cryptocurrencies that many of us already use. Coins like Ether, Bitcoin or Doge are examples of cryptocurrency. The CBDCs would be similar to those, which means that CBDCs are a fully digital form of money. In other words, or simpler words I must say, these have the potential to completely transform our financial system. Now let me tell you one thing, guys. What do people love most about cryptocurrencies? It is the fact that these are decentralized. The power is in people's hand because they can choose how to use it, save it, or even trade the cryptocurrencies, right? But this would not be the case in the CBDCs. These would be centrally controlled, regulated, and organized by your government, like any other form of money. Now, this is not even the worst part about it. I will talk about it in a moment, but firstly, let's see how close we might be to tyranny. Many countries are either testing or have already begun the usage of CBDCs. These number of nations are rapidly expanding at this time. Now guess what, guys? When Mr. Rishi Sunak proposed to establish CBDCs in nations like the US, the UK, Germany, or others, he used extremely poetic language to describe this technology. Words like inclusiveness, safety, security, unity, etc. were used. But what makes you think that you should welcome CBDCs with open arms? Right? Now, coming to the main problem, there is a word that is constantly associated with the CBDCs. This word is something that seems people don't want to talk about. This word would enable the government to use the money in ways that it has not been able to before. And that word is programmable. No, I'm not lying to you, and you heard it correctly. The CBDC is programmable, which means that the government can impose financial restrictions over your money by using some digital rules like it's just any other software. This gives the government a tremendous amount of financial power over your money. The power, which I must admit is a little frightening, guys. Wait, let me give you an example and try to explain my point that how this would go in an economic hardship. The government doesn't want you to save money. Get out of that myth. The government wants you to spend it, because when you spend the money, it stimulates the economy and makes the money flow. With CBDCs, the government could simply program your money to expire, and it would force you to spend your money. For example, if you don't spend your money within 30 days, the money would simply vanish from your accounts. However, because of that expiration date, you would be forced to spend that money. In simple words, you are forced to follow the government's wishes whether you want to or don't want to save the money. What if the government wants to control what you buy? As we all know that the world is currently obsessed with reducing carbon emissions, right? It is good that we need to protect our environment and conserve it, but personal carbon allowance is likely to become a thing in the future. This means that like large businesses and retails and everything, each and every person would be restricted to a certain amount of carbon emission per month. The government would be controlling us like mere puppets. That's frightening, right? But wait, guys, there's more. There is even more to this filthy bucket. The CBDCs could be easily used to limit your personal freedom. Guys, China is the global leader for development of digital currency, but it is also the global leader for censorship and punishment of its own population for defying the rules. I believe that having a passport and traveling the world is a basic human right. But with the establishment of CBDC, the government would be able to prevent all these things. Just like in China, criticizing the government or participating in the protests can result in a citizen's rights being taken away. The Chinese government is already preventing some of these citizens from buying train tickets, plane tickets, or even from obtaining a passport. Look, it is very likely that the CBDCs will be used for good, and it will make our financial lives a little bit of easier. There is also a notion that they will bring a little order and stop the illicit behavior in the world of cryptocurrency. We already have cryptocurrencies that lets us store and use our own money. The best thing is that these are decentralized, which means that we have the power to use our own money, and we do not have any government to tell us how to store or use our money in any way. I can't help but to think that the only reason why the government wants the CBDCs is to get more control over our money and our lives, so that possibly to shape our futures in a way they would want to shape our future. There is only one solution: when the CBDCs inevitably come to your country and the government start promoting it as a wonderful tool that everyone should use. All you have to do is not just quite simply refuse to use it and concentrate on other things. Just use it, but be precautious. And with this, we come to an end. I hope you liked the video, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe. We will meet soon in the next video with more such content. Till then, this was Jewel Singla signing off.